Sides to every story, but we both try to see through the eye of the storm, holding on to what matters the most. You see, I couldn't keep my wrong lines from bleeding together, kept my hands tied, holding on to what matters the most, saying goodbye to all of our ghosts.
Alt 98.7, where music matters. Gino D here with you, and today we're hanging out at the North Shore Barber Shop on Velma Street in Chattanooga, the North Shore of Chattanooga. And we have a very special guest today, Justin Furstenfeld of Blue October. How are we doing, sir?
Man, I'm living the life. Look at these chairs.
Isn't this the coolest place to do an interview?
This is the most comfortable, classy interview I think I've ever done, sir. So
excellent, excellent. I like to have that box checked for you now. Get that barbershop chat down. You just here a year ago.
Yeah.
We did a cool event over at Wanderlinger Brewing Company. We had some fun, and that's kind of where we learned about your barbershop love.
And
we
look what you
invited
did.
you to meet the North Shore Barbers, and now you are here doing this chat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's talk about this project a little bit. It's part 2 of this
Right.
project. There's a part 3 coming out later this year, I can imagine. I know that's more of a covers and type of a fun aspect of this one, different versions of the songs that you've released. What about this project made you want to go in 3 parts?
Well, as a musician and as an artist, and I can even probably vouch for people that are in barbering and the creative side of being in the world and making a business out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a fine line of how much time do you give yourself to relax. It's not like, oh, this is a 2-part storytelling album. It's no,
Right.
It was just COVID was shut down, and I live in my studio. Like, that's where my house is the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hustled and I wrote 80 something songs.
Wow.
So when I got out, I was like, I'm going to put out a 40 song album. And my manager was like, that's not a good idea. You know? So he said, put it out in 3 parts. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was some big story about, I'm not trying to change the world. I just wrote so many songs and I wanted to put out a bunch of bangers. Oh, and then the third part is, I'm really big into remixes and beats and making beats and just that whole realm of music. And I, as a singer of Blue October, our supporters have gotten used to a certain style of music.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows you're not Blue October, and then you don't go try to be Drake, or you don't go try to be, somebody else.
Sure.
You fit where you fit. But then you can give it to remixers and go, hey, bang the hell out of this song. And then they can just flip it and it's under their name. So it doesn't look like you're trying to be something else. So I got my favorite remixers and we put together part 3 of some of my favorite Blue October songs that I always thought would hit really hard in a club.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And talking about that a little bit, the evolution of Blue October sound, you guys first came out, it's kind of like a post-grunge. Now I'd say you're more of a complex and mature when it comes to your compositions.
Yeah.
It's been noted by fans and critics. People have noticed this change. Can you share some insight into that musical journey and maybe how your personal growth and experiences kind of attributed to those changes that you've made musically?
Well, I grew up on The Cure and the Smiths and Pink Floyd and all this dark, trippy, insightful music, Leonard Cohen, and then on the other side of it, you had Marvin Gaye, Ella Fitzgerald, Roberta Flack, a lot of jazz and a lot of romantic art feel. Peter Gabriel was a huge influence.
of
And
yours,
then
yeah.
when Radiohead came out, I was just like, oh my God, who are these guys?
Mm-hmm.
I was never really into the big grunge scene. I loved Nirvana. I liked Pearl Jam's 10 and a couple more, but I never was really heavy into that scene.
Yeah.
But when you release music on a major label, there's a timeline. And when we released music, it was right when Korn and Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach were putting stuff out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't put out introspective, beautiful, romantic music at that time because you guys would never have played it, right?
Sure.
So I had to put some big, heavy guitars behind everything. So we got kind of pigeonholed into being you're a rock band.
Right.
Well, we've always been a rock band, but we're really more of no rules, an art band. We just love to make introspective, thought-provoking, out-of-the-box, weird stuff.
Sure.
But we love radio, and radio loves us. And so we try to write music that our fans and radio will love while staying in the boundaries of that. Because if you think about it, Limp Bizkit and Korn, Blue October doesn't fit in that, right? And then you move forward a little bit, it's 50 Cent and what was it?
Eminem.
Yeah, 50 Cent, Eminem,
Yeah,
Dr. Dre, and the rock bands were like, I'll keep you my dirty little secret.
Yeah.
You know, and
American Reject, sure.
and then it was Nickelback, Creed, and all that. And we don't fit into any of those. But somehow we wiggled our way through it with Calling You, and then Hate Me, and then Into the Ocean. We just find a way to kind of slide through without being, oh, well, you are that kind of a band. Because genres are going to change every 10 years, and you want to have your ear to the ground. And the only thing I can't do is rap. As much as I want to be a rapper, I will never try.
I'm sure there's a featured artist we can get on an album too, right?
But I won't be that guy.
Okay, fair enough. I know, because it's been almost 30 years.
Yeah,
Blue October's been around
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
What is it about you guys? And I know that there's been some changes with band members and things of that nature, but the spirit is there. Yeah. Why do you think you've been able to survive those 30 years? Is it because of that ever-changing sound that you're talking about?
It's an uncomfortable reason. And most people that believe in privacy, and they don't ever understand why I like to do this, but I like to put everything out there. So even if it's petty, even if it's a part of my life, and I'm going to show you the ID card for it, when most people would just be like, hey, let me just write a poem about it. I'm going to show you the birth certificate, you know?
Sure.
And I think that's one of the reasons why when people put in our music, they can always rely on it being really brutally honest. And it's life. And I love life, negative and bad.
Yeah.
As long as I don't lie to anybody, as long as I don't use drugs or alcohol anymore, because I'm a better man and much more handsome when I don't, you know, and I'm a better father.
Right.
As long as I don't do those three things, then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because I've got my side of the street cleaned up. And as long as I'm kind to people.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Have you felt that in your writing too, in your personal growth? Obviously, you've been through that journey. You've talked about your sobriety. You've talked about your addictions and everything that you've been through. How does that impact your writing?
I feel like I'm writing better because it's a craft now. It's like these guys for barbering.
Sure.
Like I'm gonna everything you ask me today, I'm gonna relate it to barbering because
that's great.
Because these guys are true artists, and I've been trying to make a fade line for years in under an hour, and I can't do it yet. You know, but it's an art, and they have to practice.
Yeah.
They have to practice I've seen guys barber where they're going and they just flip the chair. And that line is so clean. And I'm like, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
But it's a craft, and you work with other people and you learn from other people in writing. Back in the Hate Me days, I used to just write about how depressed I was, but I'm not depressed anymore.
Right.
Life is a beautiful thing, and I only let positive, inspiring, passionate people into my life. And that's a key to it, really, for me, is I don't care how close you are. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're blood. If you are spiritually sick and trying to take my spirit down with you, I will kick you out of my life so quick, because I've worked so hard to find the peace that I found. And I used to not be such a good guy. So I'm really trying to, you know,
must feel good.
I ask God to forgive me and let me move forward and being a good, and he's blessed me so far. I mean, look at us. We're sitting in a barbershop, homie.
That's it. Cool, man. Let's talk about your live shows. Have they evolved as well? I've been told, from what I've read about you and things, and people explain the Blue October shows, you like to break that fourth wall. It's an intimate performance, much like you're talking about showing the ID, showing your birth certificate. Do you feel that carries over into your live shows as well?
I still am amazed that people like to come see us. Because we just get up there and it's blocked. It's very choreographed. It's very the light cues. Our crew is the hardest working crew in the country, and we don't want to be number one. So we don't want to. I've played arenas before, and it's just so far we're out there, and we could stop touring for 2 years and come back and play bigger places. But it's what I've always known. Yeah. So we always stay on the road, and we like to play 1,000, 2,000 seaters and just consistently get more creative, because I can reach out and touch the audience.
Right.
You know, it's like black box theater compared to symphony halls.
Yeah, because we mentioned that, because we obviously have some bigger venues here in Chattanooga, but you did the Walker Theater last year, and they come back and do the same theater, but it's that intimate space, and that's, like you're saying, where your music will connect.
Yeah, and plus you got to think about it. Everybody took a hit during COVID.
Sure.
Everybody took a hit, and so once they said, okay, go, the whole world, if you're a hustler or if you care at all about your passion, you're going to start running because you just lost all those people who are going through the same thing. So somehow you got to get those people back, and somehow you got to inspire them to want to come back, because boy, I'll tell you, once COVID happened, I started getting rid of my stuff and going, what is all this stuff? Sure. You know, do I need stuff? I started getting rid of stuff, left and right. I'm going back out there expecting all of a sudden these 2,000 seaters to be filled right back. Boy, it was a rude awakening. I got out there, it was maybe 200 people, and I was like, okay, okay, I'm going to have to start over. But then it just made me go work harder. Just like I'm sure these barbers were like, I wonder how all these people have been cutting their hair. I wonder if they figured out how to do it themselves now. Oh no. Tattoo artists around the country too. Oh my God. It's a blessing that now we're finally able to go, okay, good. We got 1,000 people back. It's not 2,000, but boy, we're connecting again, and that's great.
It is great. One final question from me, and then I know we have some audience questions for you. Is there any milestones looking back, or any moments that you thought, man, this is pretty incredible?
Pretty incredible?
Yeah, something that just stands out. When you look back at your 30-year span, something that stands out to you.
It wasn't the Jay Leno's or like the Conan O'Brien's. Those were stressful. And those were like, really? I think it's when I meet people that are going through addiction or trying to get clean. Okay, real quick story. I met this kid. I was doing an open book show, an acoustic show in Chicago. And open book means I just come there, fly in with my acoustic, I play a show, and then I walk to my hotel. And I'm walking to the hotel, and it's snowing and raining outside. And I'm with my girlfriend, Emily, and we walk into the hotel, and there's this kid sitting there. And he goes, I've got 1 day clean off heroin. And I go, at first I was like, and then he goes, I think I can do this. And I go, Emily, go ahead and go upstairs. I'm going to talk to this kid for a while. And bro, I talked to him for like 30 minutes, called him all the names under the sun. Don't be a little, you can mother.
All the stuff you can't say on the radio.
All the stuff you can't say on the radio, but that'll make it stick. That God, I'll remember that. And then the next year we came back to Chicago, and I always wondered what happened to him. And he came and he showed me his year chip. Wow. And I was like, oh, what? And then he brought his sister who needed to get, and it's moments like that. Or when I see dads or moms that lost their kids in custody because they had drug problems or mental problems, and they actually stop and go get help instead of complaining and being a victim, and that's, to me, like, this is incredible. It's not the how much money did you make or what movie did you get to do. It's the wow, you look so much. Some of these people, I mean, when I was in my active addiction, boy, I look horrible, like a puffy penguin is what I always say, in a big old white and black suit, walking around whining all the time. These people's lives are just, I'm just so proud of them, and they got their kids back. And it's just, that's pretty cool.
So those are the moments.
Those are the moments.
And that's what life is about, right? I mean, when it comes down to it.
It really is, especially after COVID, when all the stuff, just give all the stuff away. It's all about your children's health, rock and roll, music, and radio, and connecting. And and I won't say this enough, I'm not saying this go like, oh, I'm just saying there's so many easier, quicker ways to make things happen these days, all the way down to people cutting their own hair, or to different streaming sites to listen to music, or no longer going to movies because they can just stream it. But the connection that radio brings to direct face-to-face fans is still so cool. And after COVID, for a while, we didn't have that. And I was like, when are y'all going to let me come back and do fun stuff? Now look at us, bro.
We talked about that actually the last time you were here, about your love for radio and how you've said radio in some way saved your life.
Changed
your life, yeah.
Changed my life, because a lot of kids these days with these bands, and they're like, what do I got to do, bro? Because I run a label, and I haven't signed anybody except Blue October, because nobody wants to tour. Yeah. Nobody wants to go visit radio. Nobody wants to. I remember when we would just get in a van and just do radio tours. We come knock on your doors, bring you lunch, and go, can you listen to our song? Can we take you to dinner tonight and maybe become friends? Right. It's like nobody does that anymore.
Well, they're all on TikTok.
Everybody thinks they're going to be Post Malone and blow up, There's only one Posty. I love Post Malone. I love that guy.
Speaking of the radio, we have some listeners here. I want to kind of throw it over to them if they have any questions for you, Justin.
Thank you for asking. My mom broke her leg. She's 70 years old, and she got a pit bull.
What? 70?
Why? And that sucker ran right into her leg, headbutt, broke her leg, destroyed her leg. She just got surgery. She's on a lot of morphine right now. So,
But you've posted on social media, as she's talking about making sure to focus on that downtime with your family, make sure to spend time with friends, and to really focus on that.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that's because of the growth that you've had to learn.
Yeah.
To learn that.
Do you know what my downtime means? When I get home, I take my kids to school, right? And then I go right in the studio. Whoa! Go right in the studio, and then 3 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Pick them up, do it again the next day.
There you go.
I just can't stop. It's like y'all not barbering for like 2 weeks because you got your kids. Whatever, you gotta make it work.
Any other questions for Justin?
Do you ever do festivals?
I do.
Any this summer?
Depending on the ones that want to let us on. The thing about festivals is we're such a big crew. We have like 12 people. So it costs a lot of money just to get up and down, just to get everybody out there. And mostly festivals are the kind that they don't want to really pay that much, and they want to give you like 20 minutes to play, and then they don't want to give you a sound check. And then it's nothing bad about it. It's just it's not a good look if you're trying to break a market. And it's almost like asking a barber to go to a street fair and cut some people's hair on the side of the street amongst a bunch of other barbers with no hygiene appliances. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of, it's fun. It'd be fun, and you could do it all day. But I'd rather take care of my crew and make sure they get proper stuff. Yeah,
Justin,
bro.
thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it.
Bro, so I'm going to walk around.
We're going to take some, do some haircuts. I want you to learn, ask questions, take some photos with our fans here.
Who here does beard trims?
Well, they do it here.
So
They do it
before
all
I
here.
leave, can I get this trim?
All right, let's do it.
Awesome.
We don't have to wait for anyone to follow. Burn all yesterday's, give us on tomorrow. Love is like a flame in our desire. We'll have to sacrifice everything we lost in the fire. 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 Wait for anyone to follow and burn all the yesterdays, give us our tomorrow. Love is like a flame in our desire. We'll have to sacrifice everything we lost in the fire.
So cool.